Hello for kids, this is day 75 of me playing chess every day until I reach the repeat rating of 2500. So here we go. We have the game, we have the black pieces. I will just settle it up so that we will know what rating my opponent has. Just a second. You need to do this and now I will see the rating of my opponent, which is 2000, okay? So e4 pawn to c6, the Caro-Kann defense, and d4 controlling the center, d5, this is the mainline Caro-Kann defense for now, and the advanced variation with pawn to e5. Now bishop f5 of course is the best move, trying to play e6 and not blocking in the bishop. On the knight d2 variation, I don't remember the theory here, I don't know what the idea of this move actually is. I know knight to e2, what is it? To go to g3, I don't know knight d2. But I will just play pawn to e6 here, nothing special. Okay, I get it, knight b3 was an idea. But just continue developing with knight d7, maybe c5 later on. Now c4 of course is a legit option, but knight f3 was played firstly. Now going for a6 looks pretty good, and then with c5. I think that's just it, because if I push with c5 just now, then there is bishop b5, which might be unpleasant here. So yeah, just a6 going for a very good light square blockade, kind of. Bishop d3 is a bad move here due to just takes, and then, I mean, I will maybe put the last pawn on g6, and then, I mean, I have a total blockade on the light squares. Even this trade wouldn't be that bad, but of course it cannot really happen for now. I must say I pretty much like this kind of positions, but I don't think I have ever faced knight to d2 on the fourth move of the game in the advanced Caro-Kann. We'll see after the game whether or not is the best move or not, or something special here. Bishop e3 now, I can understand this move. Of course not allowing c5 here due to just takes. But I don't think it actually does anything. I can just play queen c7 here. Maybe rook c8 to begin with, and then c5. Just rook c8 I think is a very natural move here. The c file will open up probably, so putting the rook on c8 is never a bad move. And you still need to develop this bishop. From f1 it will usually go to e2, although you could trade it off with my bishop here. But that's not a very typical way of playing this kind of structures. Excuse me. If you have the white pieces, you shouldn't really be trading the light square bishop. You shouldn't be even playing pawn to h3. I have no idea what this move actually does. Let me think for a second. If I push c5 takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and rook takes. My position is just wonderful, I would say. There is like knight d4, I play knight e7, takes. Also g4, bishop g7, bishop g6, and bishop g2. What are you even doing here? I can even play bishop e4 to counter your bishop here, because there is no knight on c3 that can challenge my bishop here. So I think just c5 is a very good move here. After c5, there is a way to play with c4. You don't go for it. I can understand it. But now c4 after knight takes, I don't think it's that great. Maybe it is, but I mean, probably just takes on b3, then pawn takes and knight e7. If takes, knight takes, I'm pretty happy with that. So of course you won't take here because that's a bad move. I think you should play pawn. Oh, but you do. So after takes, you will push c4 now, or will you trade and push c4? You play bishop d3 actually, with an idea to take back with the pawn, but I play knight e7 here, defending the bishop with very little problems in my position. So castles, I think just castles now, and I think I have a pretty decent position out of the opening. Castles, bishop takes, knight takes on f5. c4 is always something, but queen c7, rook c8 to follow. The game will most likely end in a draw, if I might predict the result of today's game, but it is of course too soon to call it, of course. Now there is one move that maybe is very good, maybe it's not, I'm not sure, but the move is knight to d4. Play a4. Okay, knight e4 was logical, attacking the bishop. But you play a4 with an idea to lock down my structure, kind of, but a5 is never a threat just yet, so b4 is weird as well, allowing me to put a rook on c3 with tremendous pressure there. I mean, queen c7 here, queen d7 also, but then a5 becomes a pretty good move. Queen b6 is also an option here. After b3, you're probably just slightly worse if you're white. Due to my pressure, long-term pressure, I will take, play knight g6, if here I will go up or something. Queen b6, what is your move? Knight d4, knight d4. I take. Also, your knight is kinda loose due to some tactics here. Also, b2 is hanging. But we have time, so spend the time. Knight h4, queen b6, knight h4 takes, pawn takes, I take on b2 with a very good position. Rook b1 there, I play, queen takes on e5 because the knight has moved, and then if b7 is taken, then knight c6. My position is wonderful, I would say. So just queen b6, yeah, there are no forks or something like that. Just yet, probably. Here, I can just take here. Or maybe take on d3 and then take here. So just queen b6, I'm enjoying my position. It is a very positional game so far. But I think I have a very good central control here. And I have the open c file with all this pressure, with the queen coming in. Playing b3 here is very unusual, giving me all the squares, all the attacking possibilities. After b3 takes, you have to take with the queen probably back, otherwise b3 is also very weak. e5 is weak, you cannot push f4. I mean, there are a lot of tactics going on in the position, although it seems like it is a very slow maneuvering game. And it is indeed, but of course it is a tactical game as well. So now after queen b6, I think my opponent will spend some time here. The position is very complex and complicated as well, I think. Playing just a random move here, like knight d4, is probably wrong. Bishop takes on d3, queen takes on d3. Okay, I get it. I'm not so sure about my opponent's move here. I can take if queen takes. Then I don't think I will take here. I think I will play the move queen c7 there. Kinda putting a lot of pressure here. And if rook defends, knight g6 comes. If f4, I go back to b6. King there. Rook c. I mean, takes here, queen takes. I play a rook c8, threatening the move rook c4 and winning the pawn here. I won't take on b2 because it gives a lot of counterplay to my opponent, but I will just take with the bishop here. Knight b3 is always something to look after. But after queen takes, rook c8 is my next move, and if knight b3 there, I simply take the c2 pawn. With a lot of great moves to follow. I think just rook c8 now. Not taking here. After rook b1 there was queen c3, takes here, maybe playing like knight g6. Also doesn't look that bad. But maybe I should have spent more time. That's certain. And for people wondering, I didn't miss the move queen takes on b2. I just didn't like it. That are the two not the same things. They are completely different. One is it that you miss a move, and one is that you don't like the position arising from one specific move. And after queen takes on b2, I wasn't really certain that my position is all that great. The c2 pawn is of course defended by the knight here, and I mean excuse me, the knight is of course defended by the queen here as well. Maybe I should have taken on b2, but I think the rooks come to b-line and they're very active. The knight on d4 is very good placed. Now you cannot really move this rook. Why not? Well, knight g6, and what are you gonna do? You cannot really defend this pawn. If you're gonna play like queen e3, then I simply take here. No, I don't. What is wrong with me? But because the queen is defended even with the knight, so but yes, now my threat is very obvious. My threat, well, I don't have a threat actually. Well, I do have. Rook c4 is a threat, and if c3 I take on b2, and if rook b1 I take here, and if queen takes, rook takes here, I play knight g6, and I'm probably just completely winning. I'm up a pawn though, but this pawn is also weak. This knight is weak, you cannot play knight f3 back probably. I mean you could, but then with trade rooks, and I mean like h6. I have a passed pawn, a defended passed pawn in the center of the board, which is usually pretty good advantage, especially in the late middle game or an early end game. My opponent is spending a lot of time here, which is reasonable because the position is very complicated, very complex. Knight b3 is impossible for now. You cannot really do whatever you want because I'm threatening rook c4 at the time. b3 here. Probably with b3. Probably I just go here. You have to watch for knight. So probably queen back to d2 is necessary. And then like knight g6, f4 is impossible probably. I mean the knight is then pinned, which looks pretty dangerous because there is just rook takes on c2, and if queen takes, I mean I just take here and you cannot recapture it because the king is hanging, kind of. I mean, because it is pinned, the knight. And now I'm up on the clock, and I was down like 3 minutes maybe. And yes, my opponent is seeing that I am having all the activity in the world. I have the open c-file, semi-open c-file only for myself. You can push f4 because of this queen. b2 is also targeted, so c3 I guess I just take here. Then take on c3, I will be up a pawn in that position if b7 falls, and if it doesn't, then I mean just game over probably. My back rank is kinda an issue for now, but I am able to play h6, h5 or g6 on the next move, whatever I like. Also g6, knight f5, if takes, I mean I like that endgame, although there is g4 probably targeting my king side. But I mean you cannot really move the f pawn, but g4 looks dangerous indeed, so maybe g6 and knight f5 is not that great of a move. And if you have to take with the e pawn, then my d pawn is very weak, isolated indeed. That's probably just bad, and my opponent is still spending a lot of time here, which is of course a very good sign. And you play rook b1 here. I'm not sure. Okay, this actually does something, but I think it just hangs a pawn though. Rook c4, and this is just free. Here c4, c3, excuse me. Knight g6, f4 cannot be played probably. It might be possible though. I mean this looks bad. Knight g6, knight f3. c2 is hanging, so here f4. Of course, here f4 I play rook c4, c3. No, f4 I take here. What is wrong with me? Knight g6, f4 I take here. Due to this pin. Threatening to take here as well. And just win the game. So knight g6, you have to play rook e1 probably. After rook e1, I think here c3 and just maybe, oh, if here rook e1, there is just queen c7 pressuring here. How will you defend the pawn is my question. Well, this is very complicated. I think knight g6 is the best move. Also maybe going for f4 in some positions after rook c4. Knight g6, if I win this pawn, it's game over, completely game over, because it is a central pawn. I get the knight to c4 and I just win the game immediately. It's just retainable then. On knight g6, knight f3, hang c2 wins the game for me. Here, if you play queen e3 doesn't look that bad. But here is also a threat after c3. But my knight is good on e7. What is wrong with my knight here? Oh, there is another way of picking up the pawn. Knight c6, you probably... If you take, then I win either of the pawns with this fork. If c3, I take here. If rook a1, I don't care. And I should be just up a pawn in a... Up a clean pawn in a pretty good endgame for me. This rook is passive. So knight c6, knight f3. I play knight b4 and win the game. So yes, here is just a... Here though, I go here. No, here, I probably go knight b4 and then take here with the rook and just win the game as well. So knight c6, if takes, I take with the queen, forking the two pawns here. C5, e5 is also very weak. If I take on c2, I take the whole second rank to resign. If I take here, then I'm going for a queen trade, and I think my position is just good. I will play b5, a6 will be weak then, so maybe not b5, but something else. You cannot go to a6, which is very important. If my opponent would get the knight to d6, it would probably be just game over for me as well. This knight would simply be too strong on d6, forking everything in my position. Also, you have to take here. If you don't, I play knight before forking the pawn and your queen, and I just win the game. So you take, I take with the queen, of course, with a fork. Now I'm definitely winning material on the spot. If you play moves like f4, I go here and check and probably just game over as well. c3, I go here. f4, I go here. With d5, with d4 ideas. b2 is very weak. f4 and f5. My opponent will try to checkmate me. That's probably the only way my opponent can gain something out of this game. What am I gonna do? Well, I will try to trade off queens, maybe give some checks, maybe threaten here, and I will try not to get mated, which is quite hard, but I have 9 minutes left. So I will try to defend, and if I consolidate this position on the king side, well, my position should just be almost winning, I would say. But f4, rook f3, rook g3, rook lift, maybe going with h4, h5, h6. This queen is perfectly placed here, but you have a lot of weaknesses to deal with. My queen will get on a better place. I will play b5 before, open up the queen side, trade some rooks, and I will just win the game. If everything goes fine. Okay, f4 played. Queen here, queen g3, and f5 is pretty good. I don't want to open up the F file. So how to deal with this? There is d4 takes. That doesn't look too great. If I can get my queen like on this diagonal or something like... I mean, queen e4 is something. I don't want to get into that endgame though, because this endgame doesn't look that bad for white. I think it's perfectly holdable. Pressure on the opponent, you just probably consolidate. Queen b5 is also a move here. Queen b6, you have to play like king h2. But what to play here? b5, I mean, with queen here, I'm preventing f5 for one move. And then what, yeah? If we go to g3, I play g6 probably. Queen f5, queen g3, g6, h4. And h5, and how will you break through is my question for you. Here I go here. Check, and I go here, and... have a lot of counterplay on the queen side, but I don't... Here and here and here is my counterplay. Queen c4. Queen g3 should be played. Maybe queen f3 also. But okay, queen g3 doesn't support f5, so I go here with check. If you, I mean, here, I go d4, f5, I take, you take, and I take, and you mate me, so that's not good. Queen g3, I think just g6 also. Because g4 and f5 is harder to play now. I mean, if you take, I'm completely winning, probably. Maybe completely is slightly over exaggerating, but I should be able to outplay him because I have the activity, all the activity in the world. Also, my rooks can easily defend the 7th rank, the rank if necessary, so that's also fine. Queen f3, I go d4, d4 here, takes here. I go check maybe and take here, but then take here and I also get mated, which is bad. So queen f3, I don't think I can play d4 just yet, but after queen g3 I could probably take here and then take here and just probably just win the game. So queen f3 is probably the best move, porting f5, but after takes, I mean, I'm g4, f5. No, I cannot play g6 probably. After f5 I will probably just take here. d4, f5. Because f6 is a threat. So I probably have to take. Queen takes. So d4 here takes, and then takes, and then takes, and then takes, and I'm getting mated, so that's not good. So I have to play rook c7, f5 takes, queen takes, and d4. Just if takes. Maybe some sort of queen d7 move. I think just rook c7 here, just defending the 7th rank. If f5 I take, queen takes, and d4. And if rook c1, I just probably push with d3 and I have all the counterplay in the world. If e6 I just take and my king is perfectly safe. So I think just rook c7 now. If f5 I just take, queen takes, and I push with d4. The f7 is defended. e6 I take, go to h8. I think I'm perfectly fine though. My opponent also has a lot of counterplay in this position though. But for example, f5, I could also consider playing queen e4 takes, and then takes, and takes, and rook e1. Not the greatest position of all time. I mean, the rook c5, g4, king f7, king f2. I mean, going here and here and here. I shouldn't really play queen e4 because I think after f5 takes, queen takes, and d4 I have enough counterplay. If takes, then takes with check. Maybe, I mean, then I'm still up a pawn, so I can. No, rook c7 just blunders mate in 2. f5 I take, queen takes, and d4. d4 if pawn takes, queen takes, let's just maybe remove this. We'll see if I will definitely. I mean, taking here is a mistake. You shouldn't. But allowing pawn to get to d3 is also a mistake. I mean, playing e6 here, I forgot the queen defense here, which is quite bad for me. My calculations are horrible. That I missed that e6 is defended by my queen, so also queen e6 and picking up. So we take, I take. King h1 definitely better. Maybe queen d7. Maybe queen e6 and just pick up this. And now I'm all defended all. No, this is just resignable, I think, by my opponent. What can I say? I think the position is resignable. I'm so sorry to say that, but I think the position is resignable now after queen d7 and queen e6. I mean, I'm just sorry, but this is just after queen e6. I think my position is just dominating completely. I will go to the e line. I will completely crash my opponent. If you take here, I remove rook takes d7, and this is just completely horrible. After e6, I just take, and you are having some. I mean, I'm up 3 pawns at that moment. I mean, 2 probably, because I have 5 pawns and my opponent has 3 pawns. But after queen takes here, I mean, this rook endgame should just be completely dominating. So yes, queen b3 is probably the best move, but after queen e6, then this is just a tempo gainer, yeah. Maybe queen c6 also. Queen e6 attacking here. b7 is defended by the rook. Also f7 is defended by the queen, king, and the rook on c7. If rook c1, I mean, just I take, it's free rook, so you cannot even. I mean, going for this is fine, but I could always play like rook c6 or even take the pawn. So maybe rook d1 here. You cannot be too brave, because if like this, I just trade off rooks and I'm completely fine as well. You shouldn't allow me to take this pawn, but what can you do otherwise? But my opponent has some threats. If I take here, for example, rook c1, I shouldn't. Oh, I can take, because and queen f8 is not made, because rook f8 cannot be played, because the king is pinned. I mean, the rook is pinned by my rook to the king, so kind of makes not that much sense. But for example, if I take, then rook c1 with an idea to mate me like this, but the rook is pinned, so here I can just play king h8 and then take here, and if takes here, I mean, I'm up a full queen, so you can just resign. Also, I'm up 1 minute on the clock. You play rook b e1. What can I say about this move? It makes some sense, but not a lot. I mean, what could you do else? So, of course, I'm not blaming my opponent for playing rook e1 here, but now we have to make good moves. Playing rook c5 here is definitely a mistake, blundering, but I can play just b5, for example. a6 is defended. Also, playing here is a mistake due to b7 is hanging, so just b5. I think I will be playing quickly. I have a lot of time on the clock. I will try to pressure my opponent on the clock as well, not only on the board. b5, a good move. I will try maybe to use my outside passed pawns. If I create one, of course, it would be great. And then rook c5 and maybe takes here. Of course, after rook c5, there is still queen b7. There I can play check, go back, and then you probably just go back as well. Takes. I'm getting mated, because queen takes on c8 is a legit threat. But if you go like after rook c5, if you go queen b7, I can just play probably here and then here, and if takes, I take, and f7 is hanging with checkmate, so that's also bad. But we'll see. I will maybe play h6, so there is no checkmate with this idea. And of course, if f7 hangs, then my position just collapses, but I shouldn't allow it. Being too greedy and just going for the pawns here is just wrong, because b7 was hanging with the a6 falling, with rook falling as well after takes, and queen takes on c8 would be just mate after queen e8 and queen e8. Yes, I mean, and just so you know, we are both getting 10 seconds every single move we make, so we won't flag each other. But when you are down on the clock, of course you are making worse moves than you would with, I don't know, hours on the clock, yeah. So that makes kind of a lot of sense. And also I have to play rook c5, not rook e7, because otherwise I'm not really attacking the pawn, because queen takes, I mean, I would be just down a queen, and also here is not a threat just yet, because f7 is hanging with mate once again. So here doesn't work yet, because takes, f7 is hanging, queen f8. You play queen d3, which is, what is this? Going here. Okay, if I play rook d7 here, what do? I go to the d file, which is of course beneficial for me, because I mean the c3 is defended, so now d3 wouldn't be defended. So here, what do? After rook d8, of course my position has improved dramatically, because I would get my rooks to d3, for example. Rook c5 now is a possibility though. After queen e6, rook takes. Queen takes. Well, this rook endgame is of course completely winning. So rook c5, you probably are going back to f3. I play rook e. Doesn't matter if I play rook e8, so I shouldn't do that. Rook d7 and going here. I think he's just improving my position. So just improve your position when down on the clock, especially. So just rook d7, of course, is defended by my queen. There are no sacrifices, there is no rook f7, there is no, I mean, anything. Queen g3 now makes a lot of sense. If I'm completely honest, I kind of missed this move, but after rook d8, rook f6 threatens absolutely nothing. I cannot take though, but I mean something. But d6 comes through, eh? Queen d3 now. Queen g6 though has to be just equal. I'm just kidding, I have to be winning there completely. Oh, this is a bad move, you cannot play this. This is probably something. Rook d8, just improving my position dramatically. Now your queen is also was better on f3, definitely. Now rook f3 makes some sense, but you play rook f4, which is kind of weird. Why would you do that? This is something now. Also, here is something. Here. This doesn't work just yet. But it very well might in a few moments. Just a second so that I think of something right now. Playing here and here. And here maybe just... Here just back. Here and here. Shouldn't be that bad. Trading the rooks. Do I want to trade the rooks? Of course I want to trade the rooks, probably. I want to make this trade. I mean, not trade. If queen goes to a7, for example, after here, queen a7, I can simply take here. And after king here, I just go here, forking you. And then I pick up the rook and should be just completely better. A6 is hanging, excuse me, but I still have a lot of checks, maybe picking up the rook or something. Just rook d3, if you don't do anything, well, I won't do anything either, so. But if you go to a7, then I think rook h3 is just completely winning with this idea. Probably go here, here. Takes on a7, I go check and pick up another rook. And if here, then I pick up the rook with check, so that should be... I think here works. Oh, but the rook is defended now, excuse me. Of course it doesn't work. But here now works, yeah. Playing rook c2 here looks very good. With a lot of pressure. And by training the rook... Yes, I think now I'm just threatening to take everything. I mean now, queen c5... queen d5, excuse me, my next move is giant threat because I'm forcing rooks off the board. Why? Where then rook g1, I play rook d1 and after takes. Here this is check, I play like here. Picking up the pawn, probably if here I mean just g6 or f6 or something. Okay, rook h4, what does he do? Nothing, probably. Probably just loses the pawn. What is the idea? The idea is probably to play like here, but I mean this hangs mate. Also this, I mean there is rook g4, so that's not great. This threatens mate here. You can stop it by this, but then you lose your queen. This is a threat, rook g1, rook g4, okay, logical. I can just go here. And then just here and just pick up this pawn. Or can I? Back rank is not hanging, never. I think just rook c1 is much better endgame. So why not go for it? Queen e3, I saw that, but I can just take it and then play like rook d1. Queen d1, excuse me. Is there anything better for me? I don't think so. Just takes. Queen takes and queen d1 I think is good enough. Also queen d2 doesn't look bad, but it's probably the same thing. Rook e4 I take. I might go king f8 and just here and rook. I mean, this should just be resignable, I think. Of course, my opponent shouldn't resign so that we understand each other. Definitely, I don't think my opponent should resign just yet. I mean, play on. Maybe I will blunder something. We're both low on time. Of course, I wouldn't resign in this position either, but it's bad position. That's what I'm trying to say now. Not that my opponent should resign or something, but it's hard position to play definitely, and to defend especially. I think it just forced by it loses by force, not forced by lose. Excuse me. So queen takes, rook takes, king h2. I think I can play here. If here, then this loses the pawn here. If before I still go here, rook f5, rook e4 loses this pawn, and being up 2 pawns should just be okay for me. I mean, there is rook e4 here as well. After takes, king f8, and going here, my pawns are always defended. Yeah, just takes, and then here and this. I'm sorry, it's just completely lost. Rook here is definitely something you should do, but after rook a8, who will guard the e6 pawn. No, but you play e6. What about rook e8 here? That's probably just rook e8. I thought just wins the game here. Why doesn't it? There is no check. If e7 I take, win the game. If here rook a1, rook e6 defends the pawn, so just rook e8 and my opponent will resign now. It was a good game, but I mean, now I'm sorry, but this is just game over. I think it was a pretty great game by both of us. Yes, so king g1, king e7, king e7, excuse me. Did I say king g7? Excuse me if I did. So how to win now? Rook c6, threatening here. Okay. I should bring my king closer, like there, for example. That would be great. Oh, that's my plan now. Okay. And now I'm just probably completely winning. Rook a2 was also a bad move. Rook a3, I can just push with b4. I mean, now rook a3. Really like a4, a5 and a4 and like rook c2. There. Now that I'm defended, even a4 is just bad move, so just rook c2 here probably. And my king, his king cannot just infiltrate like that. Here just blunders here. Rook a2, I mean, I go there. And wait, no, here. Okay, but I still play f6, yeah. Be precise, why not? If you can be precise, just be precise. You give me check, I go up. Be precise. This is the precise move, yeah. And then rook c2 and king b3. I think this is just lost here. Oh, here. Check and up. And now my pawns are all defended, so you have to play like here, here, and then. Well, yes, but simply here. Here and king take. No, wait. I need to focus now for a second, because if I take here and blunders here, and so if king takes here, I'm also blundering this pawn. Wait, this is the precise idea. I think just go here. Yes, probably I made mistake. Here, I go here, and I go here, and there are no more checks, and you probably just resign the game. Because b2 is just lost. Yes, now I think it's just game over. Maybe I could have played anything else, but I think this conversion was just pretty clean, so. And if check here, b3, I can play here, and if you do something, then g5, and this is mate. So And now also g5 threatening a fork here, so b3 is not possible to this fork. If you play rook f5, I go here, b3 I go here, and then if you do something, then g5 is just made into moves. My opponent will now probably just resign the game because there is nothing else to do probably. What can I say? It was pretty great game, I think. I mean, I was just better from the start to the beginning. I think. Where to go, here or here? I think king c6 is slightly more precise due to not allowing rook d5, yeah. But it doesn't quite matter. But no, it's not allowed, yeah. A g5 here. Yes. What else can you do? But I just take here and then I take here. No, but even better is here and then g6. And if you take with the king, I go rook c5. My opponent is trying to be resilient and he is definitely doing that. But now it's probably just game over. After takes and g6, you can just resign then probably. I mean, king takes, that is simply rook c5. Pinning, yes, but now rook c5. Wait, we need to be slightly precise here, don't blunder the game. There is king f5. I can play that here so that nothing, yes. It's rook c5 just wins. Also take just win. But rook c5 I think is the easiest win of them all. Here, I go here. Then I probably just promote. I mean, not probably, I do promote. Yes, you go here. Here now. And king d5, not allowing the king to go anywhere. h5, h6, I go probably just takes. I mean, just resign, bro. g6, h6, g5. You resign. It was a great game. It was. So let's game review the game now. I think I just positionally outplayed my opponent in this one. And that's probably what I'm the best in. By positionally outplaying my opponent. So yes, I played with 88% accuracy, my opponent played with 82. Let's analyze the game now. I made few mistakes, of course, as always, but after e4, c6, the Caro-Kann defense, d4 and d5. This is of course, the most common Caro-Kann position. Of course, white is having a lot of space here, but I will try to attack white's center. Now here, e5 was chose by my opponent. Of course, expanding in the center is never too bad, but now I get bishop f5. 92 here, I don't know what this actually is, but after e6 is just a good move. Knight b3, okay. 97 was a good move as well. Knight f3 and a6 is a theory move, kind of. And I of course spent some time here. I was on my own, of course, but the idea is c5, yeah. So bishop e3 was played. I played rook c8 instantly, because I was trying to play c5. That's the whole idea. Now I thought c4 will be played, but simply dc, bishop c, and probably knight b6. No, bishop b4. Oh, bishop b4, yes. Bishop d2, and queen d2 probably, and knight e7, and like going for the d5. The position is probably equal, but this is a long-term pressure. So after rook c8, h3 was played, which was weird for me, because simply c5. Now my opponent took, which I thought was slightly odd. After knight takes, bishop takes, and bishop takes, and rook takes. I'm just better by the computer. It's minus 0.5 out of the opening with the black pieces. Of course, that's nothing unusual, but of course being better out of the opening with the black pieces is always a good thing. Now bishop d3, knight e7, of course. I mean, here if I were to take, I mean, probably pawn takes. It's not that good what I thought it will. Now I thought about d4 here. rook c4, I guess. But even if something else, castles and castles, I don't know why this position is better for black after a rook c1, queen c7. I get it, this is kinda weak spot of white, and I will also double up on the c file, but okay, let's say it. Where were we? 97, yes. Castles, castles, and a4. I didn't understand this move. I guess it's preventing me from playing b5, which is always something you should be careful about, because my knight can get to c4 in some of the positions. But I simply played queen b6, which was an okay move. Knight d4, and I took, which was the best move. Now, taking with the pawn here looks pretty insane, because queen takes on b2, attacks the knight. So yes, of course, my opponent took with the queen, which was the best. And now simply rook fc8 was the best move indeed. Rook b8 is a mistake. And my next move was pretty great. I played knight e6. I was thinking also about playing knight g6 here. But knight g6 is not that good, as you see. Queen e3. I saw it during the game that queen e3 is probably the best way of playing. I cannot sack just the rook, because I mean the queen is of course defended. So yes, I played knight e6 here with an idea after take that I will take with the queen, and of course will fork this a4 pawn and this c2 pawn here. So of course c3 was played, the best move, losing a4, and even taking wasn't the best move here. But yes, it is almost winning for black now, minus 0.35 here after f4, which was the best move. Queen c4, good move as well. And now rook c7. After f5 here, the best way to play is to simply take the pawn. Also, you could involve like queen c5 and then king h1 and then to take the pawn. But it doesn't quite changes all that much. After e takes on f5, queen takes, I simply played d4. Which I'm seeing that is a mistake. I am not proud of this. I really am not. Of course, my opponent can just play rook f4, pinning me here. Maybe there is like rook d8 here, but after rook d1 the position is just equal, slightly better for white even. But my opponent fortunately took the pawn, and now it's back to being almost winning for black after takes. And queen d7, going to e6. We both made some inaccurate moves here. b5 even a mistake, I'm not sure why. Not because of queen d3 apparently. Rook d7, I double up on the d file instead of on the c file, because now I get to play rook on the third rank. I think it's just improving move here. Rook f4, rook here, and now my idea was if something like queen a7 happens, for example, that I will sack the rook. And then after here, I will just do this and just probably win the game. After king f1 here, this is check as well. And queen f2, the best move. I mean, this endgame just loses, of course. So after queen c1, which was an even worse move because of rook c8, queen b1, and now takes. I missed that during the game. I played rook d2 instead, but still winning. Rook h4 here, and just trade off everything and just went on to win the game after e6, just rook e8. And of course, this endgame is of course never a drawish. It was never a draw. Here we both made pretty decent moves. Nothing special happened here, and we just traded off the rooks, and the game went few more moves, and here my opponent simply resigned the game. I think it was a pretty good game by both of us. I made sure, is that a verb, to make sure? I'm not sure. But yes, I used some of his weaknesses into winning some pawns on the queen side, and then the game was just pretty much worse for my opponent, and he also blundered the game. I mean, made a mistake with e6 here, and after rook e8 the game is just completely lost without zero hope. But if something like rook here happens, then I guess my opponent has some hope. But even this endgame with these weaknesses here is just completely over. Probably So yes, I won today's game. If you have anything to tell me, please let me know in the comments below. I will be reading and answering all of your comments. And if you like the video, please consider subscribing and liking. We are so close to 1k subscriber, guys. Probably it will be like in 2 days or in 3 days. But yes, I'm so grateful for your support. And as always, see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.